another episode of Let's Rewatch, the show where we like to get together, watch some movies that we all remember fondly from our past, and then talk about them and decide if those movies are actually any good.
Welcome to the show. As always, I'm Nick.
I'm Ash.
I'm Bret.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Bryce.
Nice. You guys sound fantastic. This week we're talking...
Thank you.
This week we're talking about Legend from 1985, directed by Ridley Scott. I have not seen this film. I think a few of you have.
I think just me and Bret.
Yes, we've seen it a few times.
I've seen it once.
So you're presenting the movie to the rest of us, and the pressure is on you for us to enjoy it or not.
I better not be disappointed.
You will be.
Yeah, you will be.
Oh, no. No, Tim Curry, why?
No, not at Tim Curry.
Oh, okay.
The rest of it.
Oh,
but I
no.
think Tim Curry can hold the movie. I think.
He's not like the star.
What?
So are
I'm
you
shattered.
are you bringing a movie to the table that you don't think we're even going to like?
I'm slightly
Ambrosia doesn't like it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, princesses, unicorns, and an evil villain was pretty much my thing as a kid, but I don't know if it's going to hold water.
Okay.
Interesting.
Well, I was doing a little bit of research, which I'll come around to, but I think there's something that I found in my research, if true, would probably lead some of us to enjoy it. So we'll see. I just wanted to point out there is, again, a dog in the room, so the whining is Ambrosia. That's
Whatever,
the
Nick.
little dog.
You know, you can blame it on the dog if you want. But
So let's talk about a little bit of information about this movie. Feel free to jump in as I go through. Of course, this is directed by the great Ridley Scott. And you probably know a little bit about Ridley Scott. He started in the early 60s as a set designer and production designer for the BBC and was a production designer on the original Doctor Who series.
what? I didn't know that.
Kind of ties him into some stuff that we love.
Wow.
He decided he wanted to make money, so he worked in advertising
doesn't?
for many years, did some awesome commercials. And then he started his film career with a film called The Duelists. But his second feature film is the best film that was ever made, Alien.
Right next to Jurassic Park.
And then right after that, he was like, hey, that was great. How about we do a movie with Tim Curry?
Oh, no.
Well, close. Right after that was Blade Runner, which I seem to be
Oh.
the only person in the world who hates. But then it was
Bryce didn't like it that much.
You didn't like Blade Runner?
It was okay.
But we saw I have to say, though, we saw the shitty version with, like, the voiceover added, which I think is
there's like
horrible.
4 or 5 different cuts. It's hard to tell.
And even I was like, if this was the first version of the movie I saw, I would hate it too.
Yeah. I can't tell you which version I've seen. But of course, he followed that up with the 1984 Apple commercial and then Legend. So he had a pretty big chunk of success until Legend.
Oh, wait. Was that Apple commercial the one for the...
That was framed around the 1984 story. It was,
They threw the thing
Right.
in the screen.
And she's like running?
yeah, and throws
Okay.
the hammer through the screen, the Big Brother thing.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is he actually made that commercial during this whole debacle of making the movie Legend. The movie Legend took 3 years to make. They shot it on the 007 soundstage at Pinewood Studios, which burned to the ground during production.
Oh, my God. A
But
good omen.
Tim Curry was too convincing as a Satan.
He's just
He was
too
too
hot.
hot.
Yeah.
Who left the lights on?
So
Curry's like, is it hot in here or is it me?
Is it just me?
By the
Tim
way, your
Curry's
studio's
here?
on fire.
and guesting on the podcast today is Tim Curry.
Hello, Tim. You're fabulous. Fabulous.
I know.
So it seems like this movie is really nestled among huge successes for all the people involved. So Ridley Scott had these huge successes leading up to Legend, and then he kind of had a slump after that. But of course, Tom Cruise is one of our leads in this film. It was his 7th movie. He was still extremely young, but it was immediately after Risky Business and All the Right Moves, which were huge successes. And it was immediately followed by Top Gun, which was directed by Ridley Scott's brother, Tony.
Yeah, so it's a good thing that, I mean, this was really his big break that got him that role in Top Gun.
Exactly. Well, it seemed like it was kind of, from what, I haven't seen the movie yet, but from what I was reading, it wasn't very successful. It represented kind of a slump, but Mr. Cruz had some successes immediately before and after, and he's been doing pretty well in the past 30 years since.
Yeah, whatever happened to that guy?
And of course, our other lead is Sara, whose very next film was Ferris Bueller's Day Off, one of the best movies ever made. Now, you just saw Ferris Bueller.
I did.
Not for the first time.
It wasn't, no.
Yeah.
But I hadn't seen it in a really long time, and I didn't remember much, except for the parade scene, I think was the most vivid thing I remembered. But it was pretty amazing. It was good. Wait, who is she? His sister or his girlfriend?
No, it'd be the girlfriend.
In Ferris Bueller?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sloane Peterson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's really funny? Watch that movie and look at the fashion sense back then. Hilarious.
You know what's funny is watch Friends for season and look at the fashion sense.
Look at the fashion sense. Early 90s.
We just did
fashion
that.
sense.
It's so bad.
I think Ferris was meant to be a maverick fashion-wise, though. Except
no,
there
not
was
him, her. His girlfriend is wearing like these atrocious, like they look like someone took 2 grocery bags and like wrapped them around her legs. They're so bad. Awful.
It's a good look.
They're like hammer shorts.
Yeah, they're really bad.
Although there was the girl in the arcade at the pizza place who was dressed exactly like Ferris Bueller,
Yes.
who
Turned out to be a hot lesbian.
Yeah.
She was hot.
who spit in Jeffrey Jones's face.
Yep.
So yeah, those are our leads: Tom Cruise and Sara. Sara didn't do much until Time Cop in 1984, and then not much since. And this is something I kind of enjoy. I love actors who don't use their real names, and both Sara and Tom Cruise are in that category.
You mean like most of them?
I don't know. Some do, some don't. But they actually use versions of their real names. So Tom Cruise is Thomas Cruise Mapother, and Sara is Mia Sarapaciello, if you were wondering. And then, of course, there's Mr. Tim Curry. I think there's some opinions about Tim Curry in this room.
Mm-hmm. Hot. Bryce, avert your ears.
No, of course, Tim Curry had a huge success directly after this movie in Clue, which is one of the best movies. So there are a lot of really great movies circling around this movie.
I mean, we're talking huge success.
Well, maybe not financially
like
successful.
International,
No one can see.
like mega blockbuster film of a decade.
I'm
Clue.
gauging it by movies that I think are some of the best. And Clue is absolutely one of the best.
And I mean, we can't forget Muppet Treasure Island. I mean, come on, one of his best roles ever.
And the scariest role in a horror movie in It,
I still
as Pennywise the
haven't seen
Clown. Oh my God, you've got to
I
watch
have
it.
not seen it either. Or Muppet Treasure Island since I was a kid.
Now,
Muppet
It
Treasure
could be a
Island.
candidate for this very show if you guys haven't seen it.
Yeah, it was more of a like a cameo. Like he was totally just playing himself in
In
it.
It.
In It,
Oh,
with a
man.
little grease paint. Yeah. So here's the fascinating thing that I learned about Tim Curry today as I was doing a little bit of research. Tim Curry has 221 actor credits in IMDb. Now, he does a lot of voiceover work, so that's spread to a lot of different things. And you can compare that to Christopher Walken, who, as we all know, does every movie he's offered. He has 128 acting credits, and Kevin Bacon has 80. So Tim Curry works a lot.
Yeah, I've heard he says yes to everything.
And he does a lot of cartoon voice work, which is kind of cool.
That is cool.
Nigel Thornberry.
Oh yeah, I forgot. That's so awesome.
Smashing.
And so the real star that I think I'm most excited to see in this movie is Rob Bottin, who I don't know that a lot of people recognize that name, but I've been a fan of this guy for a while. And it
Does
kind
he
of
like to go boating?
No, I thought he was poutine. I love poutine.
Oh yeah.
this actually ties us in with our previous movie from last week. We saw American Werewolf in London, and we talked a lot about how much we enjoyed Rick Baker. So Rob Bottin was Rick Baker's apprentice, worked with him on A New Hope, the first Star Wars movie. And Rob Bottin has done some amazing makeup effects work in a lot of movies. He did some movies with John Carpenter. He did The Thing and The Fog. Inner Space, RoboCop, Total Recall, Mission Impossible, Seven, Fight Club.
Oh.
So this guy is total badass when it comes to makeup effects. But, Rick Baker is the one that everybody remembers. But this guy, he rocked it for many, many years and still is. So I'm kind of excited to see what he's got. I think I saw a picture of Tim Curry with giant horns, maybe.
Yep.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, they usually have to, CG those out in his other films.
Okay. When you see behind the scenes, they're just covered in green.
Yeah. Oh, God, we have to roto out Tim Curry's horns again. Are they getting bigger?
The more evil he gets. He's got to scrape them against trees to get the velvet off of them every year.
That's why he has so many IMDb credits, because the more movies he does, the bigger his horns get.
Is that what that movie with the Harry Potter kid is about? He did a movie called Horns.
Oh, Daniel Radcliffe?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen that yet.
Is that a Tim Curry biopic?
Yeah. Daniel Radcliffe played the young
Tim
Tim Curry. They really couldn't have cast that better.
Yeah. The Rocky Horror scenes were really awesome. So an interesting bit of trivia that I read, and I can't, there's no facts to back this up, but there was something that said that this movie was or is considered to be the inspiration for The Legend of Zelda.
What?
So I'm
What?
curious to
There's
see.
totally that in there. I'd never thought
Yeah.
about that.
Do you think that
Really?
Miyamoto just completely ripped off this movie?
I wouldn't say that, but there's definitely the storyline definitely follows that.
There's themes.
There's definitely here, take this,
So is this the closest we're going to get to a Legend of Zelda movie?
Until they make it.
Yeah, I feel like we're only a few years away from we're
making it.
Yeah.
we're running out of ideas
Exactly.
again.
Wait, but when did this movie come out?
85.
85. And The Legend of Zelda
That's some
came
quick Wikipedia
out
searching there.
in
1986.
February of 1986. Wow.
Yeah.
Miyamoto.
Yeah, I mean it seems pretty plausible. Yeah, so that's what we're in for.
Especially
then
the
what-
outfits too. You wait for the outfits. You're gonna be like, that's fucking Link.
Oh, really? But then what was his inspiration for Super Mario Brothers? What do you suppose he saw?
Well, it was King Kong,
Oh,
of
okay.
course, right? Because it was
That's Donkey Kong.
But
yeah. And
that
where
was-
do you think Mario came from?
that was from? Yeah,
From Donkey Kong?
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh.
Mario is the bad guy in Donkey Kong.
FYI,
And then
I
in Donkey
never
Kong Jr.
played Donkey Kong.
Well, you're also what, 14 years old?
Oh my god. No. I played the original Super Mario Brothers. Anyway, no one cares. Off track. I'm not 14.
All right, so that's what we're in for. A movie that took 3 years to shoot. Ridley Scott's second feature film.
Arguably his best.
Well, it's difficult to argue that when we all know that Alien is the best motion picture ever made.
Well,
Yeah, that Citizen
It's Jurassic
Kane's
Park.
got nothing.
Citizen Kane is great, but yeah,
You know what?
does not compare to Alien.
I thought Citizen Kane was fucking boring. I'm gonna say it. I understand the reasons why it's an important film in history. I get it, but it was boring. Let's be honest.
I think we need to bring that show to this podcast.
It was, oh God, Bryce will not. He will not stay awake for that. He's already asleep.
So before we jump into the movie, Sam, since you're kind of bringing this to the table, what are your expectations? Do you think you're going to love it? Do you think we're going to love it?
So, the movies that are like this that I have watched more recently, I have still enjoyed, but for their cheese factor. And I think that's going to be the situation.
You know, everybody I talk to who tries to introduce somebody to Doctor Who always quantifies with, like, you've got to deal with the cheese.
I'm pretty
Which-
sure that was Sam's exact words to me when she
Yeah.
told me to watch Doctor Who.
And I think my exact words were, don't think of it as cheese, think of it as whimsy. Whimsy is a beautiful thing. Will we enjoy the whimsy in this movie?
No, this is straight up cheese.
Okay.
there is a
straight-
difference between whimsy and cheese.
Yeah, there's no whimsy, timely, wibbly stuff. It's just cheese.
It's a smooth
Like
cheese,
like
though.
Velveeta. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it melts easily. It goes with everything. This
Yeah.
is the cheese. that you will enjoy.
If Tim Curry were a cheese, this would be it.
This is definitely it. It's a bright red, like crazily.
What sort of
creepy
Velveeta
voiced.
are you eating? Bright red?
Yeah, this is spun out of control. Backtrack.
Fiery cheese from hell is what it is.
If there were a recipe to go with this movie, it would feature some sort of curry cheese.
Absolutely, yes. This is a cheesy curry mess that'll burn a little bit, but man, you're gonna like it.
Until tomorrow.
And is that your prognostication, Brett? Is that how you feel things are going to go?
I think everyone's going to enjoy this movie.
What do you think, Ash? What do you think?
I know nothing about it except for the fact that when we were first talking about doing this podcast, we were surfing Netflix for ridiculous movies, and Legend came up, and I was like, there's a Tim Curry movie I didn't know about. So I'm excited. I'm very excited. That's all I know. All I know is Tim Curry's in it, and I am on board.
No, I for one, of course, I've never seen this, and I have very blurry memories of Willow, which in my mind, these two movies are kind of the same thing, same time period, same subject matter. I don't feel like I enjoyed Willow, so I'm not really optimistic about this movie.
I want to watch it again.
I liked Willow.
Maybe we'll revisit it.
And Lady Hawk.
Oh, God, Lady Hawk. We have to watch Lady Hawk. Oh, my God, that soundtrack is amazing. So good.
I feel like there's a point in this movie where like the plot just ducks out and like
Yeah, actually, that's a good point because I really don't remember much of the movie after a certain point.
yeah, and then I remember the end.
I don't
Like-
remember the end.
And then you're like, wait, how did we get here?
Did the movie duck out, or did you fall asleep?
No, I was awake.
All right.
So you think?
Sign number one that something was just mediocre is that you don't remember it. Whether it's food or movies.
Avatar?
If there's a movie that I don't like, I don't remember it. I can't tell you anything about movies that I don't like 6 months after I've
But
seen
see,
them.
if there's a movie that I passionately
I can tell you a lot about
hate,
Prometheus.
Yeah, I can.
I mean, the sequel to the greatest movie ever made.
It was really bad.
I liked it.
So I'm a little pessimistic on the outcome of this movie. Bryce, what do you think you're going to feel about this movie?
I'm excited to see Will Smith fighting the vampires. I think that's going to be really cool.
And of course, join us after the movie. Pause the podcast and join us after the movie to hear what we all thought about it.
Join us.
Tim Curry forever. Tim Curry.
Well, I guess it was bound to happen at some point, and I'm surprised it happened so quickly. But at some point, we're bound to come across a movie that was just plain terrible.
Okay, thanks for listening. Talk to you later.
And good night.
And podcast is over.
So if you're joining us after watching Legend, you have our apologies.
if you survived.
You know, there's something about the ultimate evil in the universe speaking in rhymes that I've never been able to get on board with. It's the same problem I have with like hardcore rap. Like they're gonna shoot you, but they're also gonna rhyme. And so you've got these evil, sweaty goblins that represent the most evil thing in the world, and they speak in rhymes.
Was that rhyming? Was that what was happening?
Not the whole thing, but
Oh.
there were, yeah.
There was that first goblin, Blix the goblin, who was like, fire, go higher, and like,
Oh yeah.
Dark as pitch, dark as any witch. Yeah, it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have a really good memory.
Yeah.
I can't remember a single line from that movie.
It's just like you.
English.
Yeah. It's just like you said, Sam. It's very unforgettable. Or wait, it's very forgettable. Wait a minute.
it's unforgettably forgettable.
There you go.
Let's talk in 3 days. Let's see how much of this you remember. Because I don't remember things that happen from one moment to the next in this movie. And frankly, it's the same problem I have with Blade Runner. Things are so slow and they happen and I don't know why. I can't piece things together.
Well, I disagree with you on Blade Runner. However, I completely agree with you in this movie because It was just so fucking drawn out, and I think they could have seriously cut this thing down to be like 20 to 30 minutes. It did not. Everything was so drawn out.
Yeah, it could have just been like, you know, the devil just like, oh, I'm going to go grab the newspaper, and like trips into the sunlight, and that would have been a better movie.
With his fucking space window that led out to space.
Why was there a space window? I mean, he obviously had a part that was like always nighttime because there were no curtains on that window.
No. and yet we cut to the outside of the tower and the sun is coming up. But
yeah. It seems weird to have a wormhole in your like dining room and not address it. Sam, you brought this monstrosity to us.
I'm so sorry. There is so much glitter.
To be fair, we watched the director's cut, though I'm not sure how much different.
Do you really think any
Probably
other
not.
cut is going to be better?
No.
Let's be honest here. Tim Curry was great.
And creepy.
And creepy. And really rapey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's talk about the 15-year-old female star and the 40-year-old demon that was trying to bone down.
And the dress that was like really revealing.
Oh yeah, it went all the way like just above where you would start to see a little something.
Yeah.
Wait, whose dress? Oh.
Hello!
Were you watching the movie?
Well, okay, because there's two dresses, and one of them was too revealing, and one of them was like three dresses.
That's
yeah,
true.
we're not talking about the one that was covering too much.
We're not talking about the one that looked like she fell into a curtain.
You know, if Tom Cruise and Mia Sara got together, they could make one complete outfit.
Yeah.
Why was he pantsless this whole movie?
I don't
know.
know.
Pants. Ever.
It wasn't even like tights. It
No.
was just legit bare legs.
Yes.
Yeah, it was pretty much, and there was like lots of crouching.
He had like Forrest diaper on, whatever that was. I don't know what it was, but
Well, I mean, he was so low to the ground most of the
didn't need
time.
it, yeah.
Like, he needed the extra padding because I'm sure there were some times where there's some scraping going on. And, I mean, you really don't want
Yeah,
that.
he's for sure got poison oak on the old balls.
God. Just like Tim Curry's chin.
One, and this is not the story you think it is. One time I got poison oak. And so I look at the instructions on the packaging, and it says, safe to apply on face and genitals. Which I thought, well, thank God there's a contingency plan for that. But I just can't understand how that would have happened. But
you're
now,
camping.
yeah, but I'm not rubbing my face and genitals on the shrubbery. But I can see in this movie how it could happen.
Well, there's shit flying through the air all the time, whether it's bubbles or fucking feathers. You never know.
Or glitter.
Or glitter. The glitter budget. The glitter budget.
Oh,
So much glitter.
you should find their PA and ask them how much they spent on glitter.
Do you think the people during this movie just inhaled so much glitter that they got a different version of the black lung? It was the glitter lung.
Of a disco inside you.
So, I think I said before that at some point the plot drops out and then comes back.
At some point?
Yeah, that
think at the
point was
beginning.
at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And it didn't really ever come back until like minutes before the end. So yeah, that was terrible. I apologize. No one should have to watch that. I always enjoy Tim Curry and in his ridiculous creepiness. But I don't think even he was enough to hold this movie up.
You know, the problem, there just wasn't enough Tim Curry in this movie. There needed to be more. Really.
Seriously.
A lot more.
Yeah.
And they repeated the exposition at the end,
many
like that they did at the beginning.
You know what's interesting too? We've talked about this before, Nick, but the whole idea of if they tell us the plan in the movie, it's not going to work.
Right.
But if we don't hear the plan, it is going to work. This time, they told us the plan, and it did work. And that was
Did
kind
they
of
tell
it.
us the plan?
Oh, I guess they didn't. But it was so see-through. I knew what the fuck they were doing.
they were like, how can we defeat the devil? And then like Tom Cruise looks all spacey and he's like, oh yeah, I remember that time there was that thing reflecting in my face. I've got it.
Yeah, I don't think they told us the plan, but I think you would have to be pretty clueless to not see what was up.
Yes.
Yeah. For me, I didn't like the movie, but I want to talk about what's good about the movie. And as you mentioned, the set design is pretty fantastic, which makes sense from a director who came up as a set designer.
Yeah. The character designs are pretty cool. In terms of a design, Tim Curry's devil design is pretty great.
Yeah.
And this is what we were talking about before. Rob Bottin, the makeup effects designer, I think he did a pretty rocking job.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, what were those fake abs, or was Tim Curry just super ripped?
Fucking ripped. Well, the horns were real, so
Yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah, we knew
all
that.
natural Curry.
everything to follow.
But I mean,
That's him without makeup, Brett.
well, that's what I'm saying. Is like the horns, yeah, but like abs like that are hard to come by.
I enjoyed Robert Picardo, the doctor from Star Trek Voyager, as Meg the swamp monster.
What a generic name for a swamp monster. Meg.
Clearly, they had to do a long, hard search to find the perfect actor to embody that character.
Do you think the creator of Family Guy saw this and was like, Meg, perfect? Perfect.
Yeah, that's all Tom Cruise had to say. Shut up, Meg.
Yeah, exactly.
It all would have been over. But yeah, pretty fantastic makeup effects on old Meg.
I thought the little kid was pretty fantastic, even though it clearly sounded like they dubbed over his voice, which was weird.
Of course.
Frankie Muniz lookalike.
Yeah, the Frankie Muniz lookalike.
Yeah, that was absolutely 100% overdubbed.
Well, yeah, but it's just weird.
Until he got angry, and then it was regular child voice.
Yeah.
When he's angry.
But he only had like 2 lines that sounded like they weren't overdubbed.
Right, when he got really angry.
Yeah.
But let's address the fact that this guy was a forest elf named Gump. Mm-hmm. He was literally Forrest Gump.
Gump of the forest.
He was a Forrest Gump. Like if you're in the woods in Twilight and there's fairy dust floating about, you'll probably run into a Forrest Gump.
Too bad they never told him to run.
Sergeant
usually
Dan,
Forrest Gumps are-
run, Sergeant Dan. Lieutenant Dan? Oh, what?
Yeah,
I was
he
close.
just gave Lieutenant Dan a demotion.
Well, he deserved it. And I think I normally like fantasy movies like this. I always have high hopes for them because I love Labyrinth. So I was like, oh, a Labyrinth-like movie with Tim Curry. Perfect. But yeah, this was pretty terrible.
That's interesting. I think I don't like fantasy movies.
Really?
I love Neverending Story, and that's it. I think
You
hate
liked
the rest of them.
Labyrinth?
Labyrinth was all right.
Oh, shut the fuck up. You so loved it. You were like, I can't believe I've never seen this movie before when I showed it to you.
Well, it's surprising that I hadn't seen it, but
It's good. Yeah, I have to say, there was a lot of really bad dialogue, and I don't blame the actors, especially since I've seen a lot of them in other stuff. Like, I don't think that it's that Tom Cruise or what was her name? Mia Sara. I don't think that they're bad actors. I just saw her in Ferris Bueller's Day Off just a couple days ago. But I just think the dialogue, like whoever wrote this movie sucks. Like it is just bad. Really bad. Yeah. Bad dialogue. Like total everything is over explained, like Bret said.
Like tweenage fan fiction.
Yeah, it's like over explained and there's not a lot of plot and like the scene with the unicorn where he's like, tell us what happened. Don't leave us hanging. And Tom Cruise knows what happened. And us as an audience knows what happened. Why do we need to hear him say it again? We don't.
Also, they could see the fucking dead unicorn's corpse.
Yeah, like, come on. We don't need that.
Well, even before that, there was the...
yeah.
Hey, I'm going to go touch the unicorn. He's like, no, don't do it. And she's like, no, I'm going to go. He's like, bitch, don't go. And like, she like walks off and he bails. And then he, like later on, down. She comes up. She's like, I touched the unicorn. It was awesome. And he's like, that was a fucking sacred animal. You're going to hell for that. And she's just like, I didn't know. Like, he could have told her.
Yeah.
There really was a moment in her eyes where she was like, okay, I'm not going to do it. But wait, this is what propels the plot forward. And so she turned around and did it. Like, she did it purely to make the movie happen.
I love you, Jack, but fuck you. Bye. I'm gonna go pet that unicorn now.
And you know what she is? She's and we've all met her. That bitch who walks around thinking everybody wants to hear her sing.
Oh yeah.
It's like we don't stop. We don't.
Unicorns and magicness. Yeah. Too much glitter on my face. Like, just shut up. Nobody cares. Dear God, shut up.
And instead of like the fall in love and kiss scene at the end, it was fall in love and sing a whole song inches from your face scene.
Yeah.
Did you say she sang a song from her face?
Inches from
His face.
Like nose to nose.
Well, that's
she just
what they
sang into
normally
his
do,
face.
Nick.
I definitely feel like Peter Jackson owes somebody some money here. Everything in this movie was repurposed in the Lord of the Rings movies and The Hobbit, right? There's the one ring that propels the story. And
hold on. Here. The
Lord of the
book
Rings
was already written
yeah.
at this point, and the animated Lord of the Rings, I'm pretty sure had already come out.
Yeah.
Okay,
well.
so what about the sweaty goblins? And there's the scene where the dwarves are throwing plates around the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, where have I seen this?
Or can we talk about the fact that you were 100% accurate in your assessment that this was very Link-esh? For sure.
Legend of Zelda.
Legend of Zelda. With the fairy. The bitchy fairy. Hey, listen.
Yeah, I really did assume he would find supplies by breaking potted plants.
Which also quickly turned into a awkward porno moment with "Just kiss me. I can be anything you want."
Can we talk about how like out of place, just straight up horrifying the kitchen was?
That was pretty scary.
Like,
I didn't realize that was a kitchen until they like cut that dude out of a pie.
Yeah, I wasn't getting that either. It was just straight up torture chamber. And they're just flogging a dude who's tied to a table over and over.
Now I get it. They were tenderizing him.
Oh my God.
But you know, if that monster thing was a chef, he's a terrible chef because all he did was stick an apple in the guy's mouth and then put him in a pie and walked away.
How did that guy, could he not break through the pie crust on top of him? Because he like clearly needed them to cut him out of the pie crust.
They cut him out with like a big ass sword though. Like maybe it was a really tough crust.
And hence, terrible chef.
If you're cooking for the devil, I don't think you need to be very good.
His teeth were pretty pointy. I think he could have handled it.
Why bother with the pie to begin with?
Showmanship?
Maybe he took a pride in his kitchen. His crappy diner
The
kitchen.
only thing that was clean were the reflector plates.
So it's like your mystery ingredient is
Elf.
It's like Legend, the chopped edition. Today you have an elf, a pie crust, and an apple. What will you make? Go. You have 20 minutes.
It'll be an apple elf pie.
Done.
Enjoy.
Good.
Why were there fucking whale noises? Were there land whales? What was
That was the most disturbing
Well,
part.
you think about Jurassic Park and how all of the noises of the dinosaurs were these complexly edited mixtures of different animals and dogs and tigers and stuff. And somebody had the same seed of brilliance in this movie that just didn't pay off with a follow through of brilliance.
Because nobody thinks horses sound like whales.
But they were bold. They gave it a try.
It was a seed of brilliance and they forgot to water it.
Exactly.
And there was shit in the air the entire time. There must have been birds exploding, as
Yes,
Bret said.
Seriously, like so many birds were killed for this film.
There's a phenomenon if you ever see a movie like, I don't know, Amazing Spider-Man, if you see it on television or on cable or whatever, it's weird because you see just stuff floating around in the air. But when you see it in the theater in 3D, that's the point. They've got all this stuff floating in the air to make the 3D more impressive. So you'll notice that any modern movie that is in 3D, just shit's floating around in the air like that. For this, in 1986, there's absolutely no reason for that stuff to be floating in the air.
Did you know the technical term for that is crap in the air?
Is it really?
No joke.
Well,
Crap in the air.
Is that for 3D shooting, or is that in general?
I think in general, but I totally had a research project where I had to look through movies and look for crap in the air.
Wow.
did you pull up this movie? Because there was plenty.
I didn't, but apparently I should have.
There were bubbles and feathers and glitter and
Yeah, it really-
fake styrofoam snow.
Should have been in 3D, but yeah.
Should it have been? Would that have made that any better?
No.
Somebody's job just to convert the dust into 3D.
It is fascinating how a director can have such a split list of movies.
Don't you mean legendary?
Wait for it.
So that's it for this episode. As always, we'd be really interested to hear what you guys have to think. Do you think it was any good? You can always drop us a line on Twitter.
Yeah, you can tweet at us at Let's Rewatch on Twitter. And also, if you have any movie suggestions, send them our way. We'd love to hear what you guys think we should watch. And also, just so you guys know, Let's Rewatch is part of the Laugh Stash TV network. That is our YouTube channel where we do all sorts of fun, nerdy videos. We do video game parodies. We do a drink review show called Let's Drink, where Bret and I get shamefully drunk on camera and all sorts of fun, nerdy stuff. So do check us out on there. And you can also follow Laugh Stash TV on Twitter at Laugh Stash TV.
All right.
All right, so Bryce, what did you think of Legend?
Not good.
Okay, next time on Let's Rewatch, Jaws: The Revenge.
Really?